Hello there, this is my final year project showcase video for my implementational project, Recipeek, social media web application for cooking and sharing recipes. During the global COVID-19 pandemic, many countries were under mandatory lockdowns, which resulted in most if not all restaurants closing. Eating out was a distant memory. Because of this, it suggested that over the last few years there has been an increase in the number of people who cook at home and eat home-cooked meals. This increase in home cooking is a great thing given there are many positive links between health, diet, and stress and home cooking. Cooking is something that can eventually become a mundane and boring activity, especially if you're cooking the same meals. Thankfully, there are solutions to conquer such issues, such as reading cookbooks or watching cooking shows. Unfortunately, these solutions aren't very long-term and could lead to disengagement since there are only so many recipes to cook within them, and it may not have a diverse group of recipes that people might be interested in. This disengagement could lead to people ordering food or eating out, which is dominated by fast food, which is ultimately unhealthy.
Why are you looking at me?
No reason. There are a few applications that allow users to share and discover recipes such as Cookpad and Yumly, but overall they fail to completely engage users. This could be due to various factors such as an unclear, cluttered user interface or the lack of rewarding activities, thus resulting in disengagement with home cooking. There is evidence that shows that social media applications can be used to engage and inform users about a certain topic or field. For example, the usage of Wattpad, a story-sharing social media application, is shown to have links to improved reading and writing skills. Although social media applications provide a platform for like-minded people to share and interact with each other, it can come with the challenges of addiction, misinformation, and cyberbullying. Recipeek aimed to include features for admin users to remove inappropriate posts and messages. Gamification is, as Dieter Ding put it in 2011, the idea of using game design elements in a non-game design context to motivate and increase user activity and retention. This includes things such as levels, badges, ranks, and etc. Gamification is proven to increase user engagement, and there are so many ways to implement it in a social media application to retain users and encourage the usage of certain features. From the research that was made, currently there are no recipe sharing social media applications that implement any form of gamification. Recipeek aimed to implement various gamification techniques to engage users. The main features that the research similar applications all share is a simple user interface and the core functionality of finding recipes. Cookpad, for example, has features for sharing recipes, finding recipes, and even sharing cook snaps, which are pictures of completed recipes. Although it has many merits, generally the user interface and colors used in most pages are visually unappealing. The main feed is cluttered, and overall there are too many features that go unused. There is no clear way to rate recipes too. This ambiguity makes it hard to engage. Whisk, another recipe sharing social media application, has an intuitive and responsive user interface, and all the features available are clearly defined and separated, making it easy to find recipes. Though it's easy to find recipes, it was difficult to find out where to post recipes. It also has some areas where the UI is just too cluttered and visually overstimulating. Although many of the research applications have a simple user interface, in general they fail to be consistent and have a problem of having too much on screen, whether it be colors or features. Recipeek's user interface aimed to be simple, intuitive, and clear. A web application called Recipeek was finally implemented by this guy, also known as me, to solve the problems mentioned. The platforms used to make this web application were Django and Vue.js. Django is a web framework that is built on the Python programming language that mostly deals with the backend. Django was the perfect web framework for me to use to implement Recipeek, as it made it easy to rapidly develop secure and maintainable web applications. It has middleware that deals with security and authentication, which is something that's very important for any application. I was also somewhat familiar with this framework, and I had a lot of experience programming in Python. Vue.js was used for the front end. Vue is a reactive front-end framework that allows for data binding, animations, and transitions, and as it's reactive, when data in the backend is updated, the data on the page is updated without refreshing the page. Compared to a lot of other front-end frameworks, it's simple and has high performance. I considered using React given I had more experience in it, though I ultimately decided to use Vue as it's something I wanted to improve on. Bootstrap was used to style pages and make the pages responsive to different screen sizes. This will be shown soon. One of the main features implemented in Recipeek is gamification. There are 3 different kinds of gamification features implemented in Recipeek: the level system, the title system or ranking, and achievements. Achievements are simply the user's statistics of how many times they've engaged with a particular feature. In this case, it's the number of recipes posted, the number of ratings given to recipes, and the number of comments made. This flowchart here demonstrates how the level system was implemented. Depending on the activity the user's doing, the number of experience points they have is incremented by a number. The more effort required for an activity, the higher the experience points. Posting a recipe is worth 20 points, posting a comment is worth 10, rating a recipe is worth 6, and rating a comment is worth 3. All of these points are multiplied by a variable called multiplier. The multiplier variable starts off relatively large and gradually gets smaller and smaller when leveling up. The maximum experience points for a level, i.e. the number of experience points required to level up, is divided by this multiplier. This makes it more challenging to level up if you're a higher level. The value of the multiplier is entirely dependent on the user's level. Upon reaching the experience points required to level up, the level increments and the amount of experience the user has resets to 0, but any XP that passes the threshold of leveling up is carried over. With level titles, users start off as a novice home cook, but once users level up, the title is changed. From levels 1 to 3, the title they get is Savvy Home Cook. From levels 4 to 6, Junior Chef. From levels 6 to 8, Deputy Chef. And anything higher than level 8 is a head chef. Having this kind of system shows users what kind of experience other users have using the application. Demonstration time. This guy's excited.
Of course I am. Do you know how long I spent on that?
I'm the only one who truly does. By the way, you need a haircut.
Yeah, you're right.
Anyway, this is the landing page. In Django, pages are run by Django's view passing context into Django templates. The context is the data you want the page to have access to. This homepage is one of two possible home pages. When the user is not logged in, this is the page that will be displayed for them when they go to the root URL. This page displays two bits of functionality, logging in and signing up. At the bottom of each page is a footer that links the user to the about page that briefly explains what the purpose of the web application is, along with the information on security and cookies. The sign up page, login page, and post recipe page utilize Django forms. Django forms was used to make the elements of the form as well as validate them. Crispy forms was used to style them. An example of validation is checking that the user entered the right number of characters for a field. The info that's collected here is all necessary data that's posted to the database upon submission. This is done using a Django view function. Here I'll create a login account for a fictional character, Frodo Baggins. After this, I'm redirected to the login page where I now must enter the username and password to enter the system. When logging in, the user is redirected to the logged in homepage. This homepage differs from the other homepage because it displays features that are only available to users that are logged in. As you can see, at the top of the page there's a message for first time users, specifically only for users who are level 0. Once the user passes level 0, this message is no longer displayed. This message tells users to add recipe interests to their profile in the edit profile page. Recipe interests are used to match similar users. The more recipe interests in common they have, the higher they show up on the suggested user page. They're told to go to the suggested user page to go and try follow some users. Following users populates the feed with recipes posted by those users. They're told that they can post recipes by pressing the post recipe button in the navbar. In the edit profile page, users can edit the details they have entered during the sign up. They can check their followers and following count. Clicking either of these links sends the user to the follows page. Here they can see the list of following and followers. They can click on profiles and they can unfollow the users they are following. A drop-down list contains a list of recipe interests in the system. Unfortunately, the footage failed to show the list, but as you can see here, recipes are being added to the user's profile. Users can remove these recipe interests from their profile, and they can also add recipe interests to the system, which they can then add to their profiles. Once an interest is added to the system, it's visible to all users. Now, when I go to the suggested users page, the most similar users based on recipe interests are at the top and the least are at the bottom. For example, here this person, Robin of the Hood, has the following cooking interests and is from Sherwood Forest. He's level 0 and has the title of Novice Home Cook. He also has the following profile picture. Here I can click on their username and view their profile. When viewing a profile, you can view additional information such as the email and the number of followers they have. On this page, you can follow and unfollow the user, and you can also view their recipes that they've posted. When you click on view recipe, you can interact with the recipe, but more on that in a bit. As you can see here, it ranks them from most interests in common to least. Now from here, you can easily unfollow and follow users. After following some users, the recipe feed is now populated with recipes with the newest recipes at the top. Each recipe's name, description, time to cook, number of likes and dislikes, and the username of the user who posted it along with their level title is displayed. When you click on a recipe, you get to view everything about the recipe and interact with it. You can like and dislike the recipe, you can read the ingredients and steps, read the comments, and like and dislike the comments. You can add comments to recipes by filling in this text field and pressing the post button. You can delete your comments that you've made by pressing the trash can button. To post a recipe, you've got to navigate to the post recipe page and fill in the basic form. From here, you can edit and add details to the recipe. The basic fields entered can also be edited, a profile picture can be added, and you can also add the ingredients and steps for this recipe. Additionally, you can remove ingredients and steps. Initially, all recipes are private by default. This means that only the users who posted the recipe can see the details regarding the recipe. Clicking this button makes the recipe public, and clicking this button here takes me to the public view of the recipe. Going back to the edit view is achieved by pressing this button at the top, which is only viewable by the poster. Also, all recipes belonging to the user currently logged in is displayed in their edit profile page. Here they can edit and view recipes. They can only view recipes if they're made public. Recipes can also be removed by pressing the delete button. Users are asked to confirm the deletion. Also, as you can see here, all of the gamification elements can be viewed in the edit profile page. Now switching to the admin side of things, Django's default admin site was used to achieve the admin use cases. If there was more time, I would have liked to create an admin page that abstracts away at the details of the database. However, this still fulfills the use case. Here's the app running on a smartphone, here's the app running on a tablet, and finally on a smartwatch for some reason. Any mentioned features that require fetching and updating data from the database are handled by API functions that I made. These API functions are called from the template files. Having a simple, minimal user interface allowed users to easily navigate and memorize how to complete various tasks and activities. All the features available were easy to find and utilize. The results from user testing showed that participants found the UI intuitive and many found it consistent. Many users also found it easy to find other users, find recipes, and share recipes, with the majority saying they would use the application again in the future. From user testing, 13 out of 15 participants said they agree with the statement, "I find the level system engaging." Of all the gamification features, over half of the participants said that level titles was the most liked. Generally, the gamification features implemented are proven to make the users engage with the main functionality of Recipeek more. Making a social media application in an attempt to engage people in something positive such as cooking can yield benefits to society as a whole. Adding gamification features and having a simple, sleek, and intuitive user interface can further engage people in the application and thus the topic the application is about. Although the user testing was not as extensive as I would have liked, the results results still provide evidence for an application like this producing positive outcomes. This idea could be applied to other fields such as fitness and education. Thank you for watching my presentation. I hope you enjoyed. See you.